Hello, wonderful people. Looks like Lane Kiffin has made his decision about whether or not to coach, um, about whether or not to coach at LSU or to stay at Ole Miss. And he decided, as I turn on the light here, and he decided that he wants to go ahead and coach at LSU. So he's moving away from LSU and he's coaching. He's moving from Ole Miss to LSU, and he's going to be coaching there. So he just basically gave the big, huge middle finger to Ole Miss because Ole Miss has had the most historic football season in their school program. Right? They're like 10-1 or 11-1 or something like that, but they only have like one loss on this season, so they're going to be making the playoffs. First time in history for that school, I believe. Yeah, first time in history for that school to make the playoffs. So that's a big, huge accomplishment right there. But Lane Kiffin, he's kind of like the womanizer of college football teams. He goes from team to team to team. Doesn't stay very long. I think he was at Ole Miss for about 6 years before he made his decision. So I just kind of want to make a video about that because I made a video about the other coaches. So I figured, I'd go ahead and make a video about him leaving um, Ole Miss for LSU, basically giving the middle finger to Ole Miss. And the reason why I keep saying that is because, they're about to go into the playoffs. You're going to really leave that team hanging without any head coach. I'm sure they'll have some head coach, but you were their head coach. You're the reason why they're even making the playoffs, besides the players, and you're just kind of like, well, I don't care that you guys are in the playoffs. I made my decision. I'm going to LSU for more money, in my personal opinion, because LSU is a bigger school that can pay a whole lot more than what he was making at Ole Miss. So that's the entire reason, in my opinion, on why he made that jump for more money. But I feel bad for the Ole Miss players. I actually do, even though they're going to go to, even if they had Lane Kiffin going into the playoffs, they still weren't going to win because obviously we're going to repeat this year, the Buckeyes, Ohio State. So they weren't going to win any playoff game anyway, but it would have just, for their sake, for the players who really played hard for Lane Kiffin, that they actually just had him there, by their side while they were playing in their first ever playoff game, even though they still weren't going to win. So I guess in that sense, it really doesn't make any difference, but it's still just about the respect of the entire thing. These players worked your butt off for you, Lane Kiffin, and then you just basically give them the big fat middle finger to Ole Miss and say, see you later, because LSU, they pay a whole lot more, so. And I guess apparently Lane Kiffin wanted to coach at Ole Miss in the playoff game, but the AD would not let him. And I totally agree with the AD's decision. You're leaving the team. Why the heck would you coach the team in the playoffs? Some people think he should be able to allow to coach the final games in the playoff, but not me, Duro. You just basically give us the middle finger. You think you're just going to hold out this season while you're going to be focusing on LSU? No, get the heck out of here and go to LSU. LSU, they're a decent program, but Lane Kiffin will be able to go ahead and recruit a whole lot better than he would at Ole Miss for sure, because LSU is a more popular school than Ole Miss, so a lot more players. It'll be a whole lot better to rank because a whole lot more players would rather go to LSU than Ole Miss. But I don't think he's still going to get the roster that he's probably going to be looking for going into next season for the college football. And I don't even know what LSU's record right now. I don't even know if they're even going to make a bowl game this season. I know they're not in the playoffs at all. I mean, they have a terrible record. I think I'll even go as far as saying that I'm pretty sure that they have a losing record as of right now. But I'm not really sure on that, but I'm pretty sure they're not making a bowl game. But I could be wrong on that. Also, I don't pay attention to LSU, unless they're playing somebody significant. Or if they're playing, obviously, us. But it's still just a big, huge slap in the face. But do I honestly care? No, but, I figured with this crazy coaching carousel that's been spinning around all season long, all the coaches that's been fired, all the new head coaches that are coming in. Florida's getting a new head coach also. They fired their head coach. Just a lot of firing and a lot of hiring of coaches going on this football season. And Ryan Day, he's lucky that he beat Michigan this year because he might have been right along there with those other coaches as well. But I'm so happy that we beat that team up north, man. I cannot tell you guys. I'm really happy, and now we get to go on to play Indiana and knock them off their high horse because, of course, Indiana is undefeated. But they won't be undefeated for long after we win the Big Ten championship as a correlation prize. And then the main prize is obviously going to be winning the national championship when we repeat. So Ryan Day is really lucky that he beat that team up north, and I'm really excited that he did, and the coaches and the players all did a great job in that game. But Lane Kiffin, I won't be surprised at all if going on and in the future he's gonna leave LSU hanging just like he did the Ole Miss players, and he's going to go to a whole different school probably. I don't know, within like 3 years probably. I don't know. He just goes from team to team to team. Okay, he's basically a you-know-what. But, yeah, just the crazy season it's been a crazy season all year long, but just as far as the coaching carousel, man, I think is just spinning, and it's still spinning. There's still teams out there still trying to find a new head coach, still firing head coaches. There's supposedly rumors of teams getting ready to fire their head coaches after the offseason, which I think Lane Kiffin should have just waited till after the offseason. Then you take care of that. You don't want to take care of that when you got Ole Miss, their best regular season they ever had, and now they're going to the playoffs. You should have waited. You should have told LSU, like, hey, you know what? I'm going to be focusing on this team right now because we're going to the playoffs, so we need to focus on our playoff game. But instead, Lane Kiffin, he saw that big bag of money. His eyes got really big. And he was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take that big bag of money. Rather than focusing on the players who put all their effort into playing for him. And a lot of those guys on Ole Miss did just come to that school just to play for Lane Kiffin. Now, after Ole Miss loses in the playoffs, I imagine that all those players that they were able to get to go there are just going to leave, go into the transfer portal, because the transfer portal does open right before the playoffs happen. And I'm not exactly how that works exactly. Like, the transfer portal is going to open before the playoffs even start. So can players get into the transfer portal and not play at all in the playoffs? Now that would be stupid, obviously. Why wouldn't you want to play in the college football playoff? Duh. Why would you want to jump into the transfer portal before your team even plays in the playoffs? That makes no sense whatsoever. None whatsoever. But, it is what it is. I don't really care. But I do think that Lane Kiffin did give Ole Miss the middle finger. It's kind of funny since I'm not a fan of Ole Miss, but I do feel slightly bad for the Ole Miss players. But, they'll get over it. They'll find a new coach. You know, they should just be focused. If I'm Ole Miss, I'm focusing on all my attention, not on the side circus that's going on with our program right now. I'm just focusing all my attention into a playoff game, and maybe, just maybe, they will be able to make that national championship if they don't play us in the playoffs, and then, you know, they can go ahead and lose to us in the national championship game. That'll be a big, huge accomplishment for Ole Miss right there. But, you know, it is what it is for me. So, yeah, that's really all I got to say about the matter of Lane Kiffin going and, you know, leaving Ole Miss for LSU. Do I think he'll have some success at LSU? Maybe, because of the players, because of the better recruiting in that area versus Ole Miss. But, I mean, they're not going to win a national championship. The only way, and they're going to, LSU or Ole Miss is going to win a national championship, is if we ain't in the playoffs. But other than that, I mean, just this coaching carousel, guys, it just keeps going and going. It's like the Energizer Bunny. You know, it never stops. It just keeps on going and going and going. And so, yeah, I just kind of want to touch up on that since I've been been keeping up with all the other chaos. There's a lot more coaches too, but this is probably like one of the big ones. So I only really cover the big ones like I have in the past, the big name coaches. So yeah, that's going to do it for this video, guys. And I will see you guys in the next one.